Welcome. Let us know where you're from in the chat. We've got a big group tonight. I'm excited. We have besides Melanie and I, who you hopefully know by now, we have 8 other teachers with us. 2 have been with us before, Blossom, Violet, and Kevin, but the rest have not been with us before. So I'm very excited because we love connecting with new people, and new in the sense of they haven't collaborated with us because we know all of you. We've been to your lives. We love your work. So I am very excited. And I am going to start by going around and letting everyone introduce themselves. And since we've got our 2 regulars, quote unquote, down there, I'm going to start with you, Kevin.
Great. Thank you so much, Violet. And thank you to both of you and to Melanie for creating this wonderful space once again. And yes, my name is Kevin, and on Insight Timer, I'm in Meditation Space Online. And I've been here for going on 4 years now. Really, really grateful for this opportunity to be here today and to be here on Insight Timer in so many ways, and just so many wonderful events that are available here. So I'm really grateful to the platform to all the wonderful organizers for having created this. And basically, you can gather from the title of my my name here, Meditation Space Online, that's exactly what I do here on Insight Timers, that I have live meditation events 3-4 times a week. And for those of you in North America, usually in the evening time and usually around the weekends. That seems to work well for me and for many people. I sing. I have my trusty guitar over here, and I basically just create a space that is for meditation, for the unfoldment of what's within each one of us. That I always say, this is not the work of any one person. It's the greatness and the beauty of each one of us that unfolds when given the opportunity, when given the chance. And that's really what it's about. Just with regularity, again and again, coming back to that space and just being that space, really, in whatever way is comfortable and easy for each one. So in a nutshell, that's basically what I do. And I'm just once again so grateful to be here with all these beautiful, wonderful teachers here today and all the wonderful participants who are popping up here online and are already here. So thank you so much, Violet, Melanie, and everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being with us. It's always a pleasure. And Blossom, Violet, my twin from down under.
Hello, everyone. I assume you can hear me.
I can hear you.
Oh, good, good, good. Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Blossom Violet. I've been on Insight Timer as a meditator since 2016, and I became a teacher in almost 2 years ago, in February 2023. And I play piano, and I don't prepare beforehand what I play because I let the music flow through me. So every single piece of music I play comes from divine or whatever you call it out there. So I'm so glad to be here, and thank you Insight Timer for this opportunity, and thank you Melanie and my twinnie Violet. And this is my 3rd time on Ask Your Guides, and one more next week. I'll be on the year of journaling, where I'll be playing the piano. So hope to see everyone there. And yeah, thank you very much.
Yes, and Violet and I met probably around the same time. She became a teacher, I want to say 3 months before I did. And I remember I kept seeing this lady named Blossom, kept telling me her name was Violet. She was from Australia. And I was like, wow, how strange to finally meet another Violet. And look at us now, right? And
Yeah.
I have to add that I do journaling tracks because that's how I got on Insight Timer. I love journaling. And I have about 120 tracks, and I think 75% of them have Blossom Violet's music in the background because I love her piano music so much. It's amazing.
Oh, thank you very much, Violet.
You're welcome.
Yeah, great to be connected.
Yes, absolutely. Asa, I'm going to move over to you. And did I say your name right, Asa? I want to
You
make sure I
did,
have it.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm Ahsa. My full name is Ahsaman, but my nickname is Ahsa. So Ahsa, and I have been teaching meditation since 2015, and I've been on Insight Timer for a little over 2 years now. And so I teach a variety of meditation styles. That's kind of how I started when I taught in person. I led a meditation meetup every week. We got together, and in my city, all beginners were showing up at this meetup. So my intention was to share a variety of practices for everyone to kind of pick and choose and find what resonates with them. And so I've kind of continued doing that here on Insight Timer. I have meditations for sleep and guided imagery, mindfulness, breath work, and most recently, pet meditation. So the first meditation I ever recorded was a meditate with your cat many years ago. And then a few months ago, when I got up the courage to go live on Insight Timer, the second live I did was a meditate with your pet. I brought my cat with me, and it was just such a huge hit. And so in just the 3 months now, I think that we've been doing these pet meditation lives, we've created such a beautiful community here on Insight Timer of people that love their pets and like meditating. And so that's kind of my focus now, although I do sprinkle in some of my other offerings here and there. But yeah, we love the animals. I love them,
Yes.
and sharing all the animal and pet type meditations.
And I love that. That's when I first spotted you, when you were doing pet meditation. And of
Oh,
course, I
yeah.
have my rescue puppy Onyx, who I tried to reel in to do it with me, and he was like, "No, I'm gonna walk around and do what I want." I
They do
love
that.
that.
Yeah. Mhm.
All right, I'm gonna move over to you, Catia.
Hello, hello, hello. I was going to say good evening, good night, good morning, whatever, good afternoon. It's such a beautiful international community. So thank you for having me here. It's kind of, I remember when I first contacted Violet, or I was looking at the schedule, it's like, oh my God, February. It's going to be such a long time. And then this week, oh, it's happening this week. So yeah, so it's really cool. I've been on Insight Timer as a teacher for not quite a year yet, actually, maybe 6 months. I can't remember. It was summer last year. But it's been such very nourishing, beautiful journey connecting with this community. And it's every time I do a live, I just feel like, yeah, I'm kind of having this blissful experience, and then it sometimes goes on for nearly 2 hours, and I'm super energized afterwards. So I love the connection and the openness of the people in this community, the people who come and really interact, and the openness. And of course, I love teaching, and I love coaching, and I love mentoring. So it's like a win-win, because when I'm there, I'm in my elements talking to people, or when I'm recording the audios, and I really sense the vibe and the resonance from, the people. I always tell them, you are there now as well. I know these beautiful people. It doesn't even matter if I'm not seeing them. And I guess, you get the same sense. There's this kind of beautiful and powerful interaction. So I've been working as a life coach and mentor for many, many years. I combine lots of different things, experiences. It started over way back when I lived at a Finhorn community. I even feel like, my God, it's a long time ago, 1998. Yes, and it's coaching and NVC and many different things have transformed my life, and that's what I offer to people. So yeah, looking forward to more conversations here. So thank you. That's me.
Awesome. And yeah, I hear you. February sounded far away. When Melanie and I started doing this, it was just a thought. And we had 6 people, and it was hard to even get people to volunteer because they had no idea what we were doing. I didn't know what we were doing. I was like, hey, I just had this thought in the shower. What do you think? And Melanie was like, let's do it. So, all of a sudden it got really popular. People loved it. We were doing like 1 a week, and I couldn't keep up with the scheduling. So I scheduled 6 months in advance. And I was telling people, I'm sorry, they filled up, but we have one 5 months from now, if you don't mind signing up. And a lot of people did. Some forgot, didn't show, but that was okay. So yeah, it's amazing how this grew. Anna, I'm going to move over to you.
Yes, thank you. The best ideas come in the shower, don't they? I
Yes.
have, yeah, so welcome. Thank you for letting me be here. My name is Thellmann. I'm an intimacy expert and relationship advisor. So I help individuals and couples to have a better relationship, but first of all, with themselves, and with that, with each other. So what I do, and I'm currently here in China, I integrate different modalities like NLP, 3P, you might have heard of it, and behavioral theories to get to the philosophy, how I like to call it, that I believe in, that gratitude, acceptance, and perspective are the pillars of a happy, fulfilled relationship with yourself and your partner. And that's what I try to teach everyone who comes to my profile or to the live events, that it's you. It starts with you, and take responsibility and be the guiding light for yourself and for your partner and for everyone around you. And that's what I love about Insight Timer so much, because I love to teach, I love to train, I love to be, I call myself a little stage bitch, because I love to be on stage and interact in that way, to share what I know and what my ideas are. And I'm also happy to hear other ideas and perspectives and just grow my knowledge, or see, okay, I've never thought of this. So I really love the interaction that we have then, like Catia said, without pictures, without seeing the other person, but they interact very beautifully. And for me, at least, they sometimes say, have you thought about this? And I'm like, no, tell me more. Tell me how we can put this together to help others with this idea. So that's what I love to be on Insight Timer, to put out the tracks, and particularly the live events. I really, really love doing them, because it's one of the easiest ways, I think, for us to connect with our audience. And for me, sometimes it feels like, because I'm in China, the time zones are sometimes tricky, but when I have people who tell me, oh, it's 3 a.m. in the morning, and I'm just here because I wanted to be live here, it's like, oh my God. Beautiful, but oh my God, I wouldn't do it probably, but I'm amazed that you do it.
I'm a night person.
I love to sleep. So for me, it's like,
I love to sleep, but I love to sleep between like 3 a.m. and noon when I
Fair enough.
can. I can't do that when I have to work, obviously. Yeah, that's awesome. That's amazing.
Yeah. So thank you.
You're very welcome. So happy to have you here. And Adriana, I'm going to move over to you.
Hello. Okay, it's Adriana, first of all.
Adriana.
I mispronounce most of the people that come into my live events, and I'm like, guys, I want to get this right, because
Me
I'm,
too.
you know,
Me
have
too.
my
So I'm
name
glad you told
mispronounced
me.
all the time. But it's so real, because Canadian, North American pronunciations are usually Adriana, but that's where I'm so unique. Thank you, Mom, who's also here, Tina, in the chat. And I see a bunch of people. I'm on here live every single week, 11 a.m. PST, on every Thursday. And I already see some of my regulars in the chat hyping me up, because it's amazing how I can go 3.5 hours on my own. But when it comes to a group setting, I'm sweating right now. Like, I am like, what is happening? Can I do this? I'm like, what do I do for a living? Like, you know what I mean? You forget everything. So you'll have to be patient with me. I also think I might be developing a bit of a flu, which is so interesting, because I was like, just work harder, you know, you're just a little tired, but the body really does, you know, it lets us know when we need to slow down. So it's so funny. I've been waiting again like 6 months for this, like the other teachers were saying, and it lands right when I'm like the busiest, fighting a flu,
I know.
doing all the things. But it's such an honor. And I always say Insight Timer is the only place that I would want to be like this for. I can show up in any state, and this community literally holds me. So that's what I came to do on Insight Timer as well. I realized that there wasn't a lot of representation for how I felt in the world, and I realized I had to be that. So I became a meditation teacher and mental health advocate here on Insight Timer. I'm obsessed with radical self-acceptance, but not just the love and light side of it, actually talking about the systematic barriers that keep us stuck and keep us in spirals of shame, which I have heavily related to. I also talk about spirituality, but also neurodiversity, which is surprisingly linked. A lot of people that have a lot of spiritual gifts and callings are also finding out that they're ADHD, autistic, on different spectrums, dyslexia, different things that we recognize in mental health, but they've often fallen through the cracks with misdiagnosis or late diagnosis. So we get to talk about all that stuff, but also kind of step back, find community within our struggles, our joys, all of the experiences together every week, resource each other, and laugh a lot, even through our grief. Insight Timer is the #1 community for me ever. And no matter how rejected or, unseen I felt in the world, I've always been able to come here and find my people. And I see so many people already in the chat here. And I just want to thank you guys so much. I don't know where I would be without this community. And I'm so excited to be here and to chat with you all. And just sending so much love to the other teachers. I just feel so honored to be among, this is like a wish fulfillment, to be in this industry and to be around so many people that are doing amazing things. So I was like smiling, on the inside, feeling so warm listening to how you guys all contribute to making this world a safer and more liberated place. So thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you. I love what you and Anna said about, you like being on here and you like talking. I'm the total opposite because I'm very much an introvert. So I love being here with other people, but not by myself. So this is where I thrive, is in the group setting.
Yeah.
Because I'm very much an introvert. So for me to have to carry on a conversation by myself with just the chat, I get like a little intimidated sometimes. I've done it, but I love this setting more.
Yeah.
So thank you. Bradley, I'm going to move over to you.
All right, I'll unmute myself. I'm Bradley Tompkins. I often introduce myself as a intuitive healer, a meditation teacher. I'm a board certified hypnotherapist, live in Los Angeles, and I started here on Insight Timer in 2022. I've given about 100 live sessions since then, of the variety where it's the thin straw of a person speaking and teaching and then text in, right? My teaching and coaching practice is called Pathways to Creative Wellbeing. And over the years, I've had the privilege, of course, to work and help people to gain clarity around these different areas of personal growth and development, spirituality. About a half dozen or so guided meditations on the Insight Timer. And I've learned to use these various different techniques, kind of an interdisciplinary approach to creativity and well-being. Some of it straight ahead practices of psychological and NLP techniques, but also a healthy dose of my background in spirituality. I started in this work around 1991, and as a life coach, supporting people in unlocking their potential and achieving goals, I developed this thing called the Tompkins method, which I was like, well, I don't want my name on it. And they were like, but they don't call it like the Nordic breathing method. It's, Wim Hof, it's his name, right? So okay. So I combine elements of hypnotherapy, but not on Insight Timer, of course, NLP and energy work to help people to gain a greater sense of well-being. And my approach is basically that healing and personal power come from within. And I'm happy to be here with you today and sharing the journey and helping people to grow and discover their own path to freedom and growth. And I'm so excited to be with you people today.
Thank you.
That's all I know.
Awesome. Ziska. And let me know if I said your name right.
You did. Thank you, Violet. So hi, everyone. My name is Ziska, but the full name is Franziska, but I go by Ziska. I am an intuitive wholeness coach, and I lead guided healing visualizations here on Insight Timer at least once a week. And I've been on Insight Timer actually since 2020. And it's really interesting because I'm here alone with Luz, and I became a mother when I started being on Insight Timer, and I've just made this connection now because I had everything set up and him taken care of, and just life wants him to be close to me, and I think it's really beautiful. And Adriana, I really can relate to this wedding and the whole I remember my first life, because I'm an introvert, extrovert, but my first life, I was nauseous, like literally nauseous. And it's sometimes, yes, my love, after, sometimes I still become really nervous when doing the lives, even though I do them, at least once, sometimes twice a week. And I have to say, to me, I'm growing with Insight Timer. It's such an important, beautiful community. It keeps me on my toes with my own practice. I learn from every single session, live session that I do. And my healing visualizations, I'm a spiritual coach, and it's everything about, and I agree, Bradley, everything is, we have it within us. We have it within us. The biggest gift we can give ourselves is doing this work. And being able to have access to so many teachers and just finding what you're resonating with is such a gift, because I think we all speak the same, we all say the same things in different wordings. And we all resonate with different languages or different approaches, but it's all about making sure that we're going inward, we're looking inward, and we are recognizing our light, and we are able to, and it's not all about love and light, but it's about seeing the light, and then you go from there, because we have to work through the darkness. And I'm really, really thankful for being here and honored to be here. So thank you for doing that and creating this space. And I'm, becoming more comfortable.
That's awesome. And I'm honored to have all of you here because, I was a user since 2018, and I used to watch a lot of you and was in awe of what you did and wanted to be part of it, but was like, what can I do? And then I thought, I'm very shy. I didn't like being on camera. And I finally was just like, feel the fear and do it anyway. I'll take a chance. If they reject me, they reject me. And, here we are almost 2 years later. And it's been the best experience because my confidence has boosted. I've gotten to know so many teachers. I loved interacting with teachers in the chat, but being able to do this is even better. And honestly, that's part of like why I wanted to get in here, because I wanted to somehow connect with the teachers. And I thought, how can I do this? And of course, technology is my thing. My day job is all about technology. So I thought, well, I can bring people together through technology, and that's what I'm bringing to the table, and that's okay. So I'm delighted to have all of you here. I get super excited when anyone signs up because, as I said in the beginning, when I first wanted to do this, Blossom Violet took me up on it, being my kind friend, of course, Melanie. There were a few other teachers that I knew that were like, sure, I'll do it for you. But most of the other teachers were like, what are you doing? And I was like, I don't know. And look, it turned into something amazing. So I'm thrilled to have all of you here. And with that, I am going to let Melanie take over because Melanie, as I said, has been my supporter from day one. I don't think I could have done this if she hadn't said to me, let's try it. Because quite honestly, being an introvert, I was a little like shy about the whole thing and was like, what if people think it's dumb? And she always gives me confidence. I run things by her and she's like, we can do it. I was actually talking about her yesterday on a podcast and I said, I need people like her in my life because I draw from that strength. So with that said, my co-host is going to take it from here.
Oh my God, Violet, you brought me in crying. Come on.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, thank you. That means a lot to me, you know that. And I'm sure most of you know me, but I do mindful cooking and intuitive baking, and I'm not shy. And when I do a live, I've been teaching 29 years, so that's part of it. But when I do a live, I feel super excited. And I do think, Violet, what you said is my strength. Someone interviewed me on a podcast recently, and I said, I think that what I bring is not just cooking, it's actually teaching people about being confident and stepping into who they really are. Because as most people here know, I actually don't give an F about what anybody thinks about me except for me. And that's what happens when you're 55. So I'm so glad you guys are all here with us tonight. And I have a couple questions that already came in. So just feel free to unmute yourself and answer them as you see fit. The first question is, what's your favorite activity to do off of Insight Timer? Which I think is a great question. Jessica asked that question.
Yeah, I love that question because I don't have an activity. Insight Timer is my hobby.
Yeah, but come on, you have something else you love to do. You love to meet people.
I do. Quiet people like myself. Yeah, feel free to jump in and answer that, anybody. And if you want to, go ahead, Anna. I saw you wave a hand.
I don't know how to do this. If I should
You can
raise-
just
No,
wave.
just start talking. You can just
Okay.
talk.
So I love to walk my dogs, to be honest. I walk them 4 times a day because I love to be outside, even though it's here in China, it's minus 20 degrees currently, so that's not that nice, but just the activity of being outside, walking, moving, listening to some audiobooks or whatever it is, just seeing something different than the screen or being in my home office. That's what I love to do. That's why I walk them 4 times a day. I just thought, I want to get out more, so let's take the dogs. It's a beautiful combination.
I'll go next. Linked
ahead.
to what's been said. I love being outside. I love walking, but I also, well, mostly I love being in nature when I can, doing those things, walking for this kind of meditation, or there's so many insights. And right now I'm from Brazil, but I'm usually based in the UK, but right now I am spending some time in Brazil, in São Paulo, in a big city. So it just made me realize, like, when I go to the park, it's like, oh, it's such a nice kind of breath of fresh air. So that's, yeah. So I just wanted to share nature and moving, and definitely being on inside time is a nice thing too.
I'll jump in if it's a good time for me. Mine is actually like a mix of all of these. I don't know if any, can you guys hear me, first of all? It's
Yes.
working? Okay, good. Mine's kind of a mix of all of this. It's actually really interesting too, and kind of speaks to like my spiritual and health journey that I share a lot in my lives. But I struggled with a lot of like chronic illness and a lot of like mental health, emotional health, physical health challenges. And one of the things that's so surreal about where I am now is one of my biggest passions outside of work is being a cyclist, and also now a skier, which is crazy because I'm scared of heights. Also became a kids rock climbing instructor, which made me deal with the fear of heights. But cycling specifically, being able to go 120 kilometers plus, and just connect to what I would call like the greatest flow state, even beyond any work I do. It feels like a high intensity endurance sport in nature. Feels like dancing with God directly, is something I've said a lot in my live events. And it keeps me, I think, fulfilled and able to pour from, this place into all the live events and work I do on Insight Timer. So I'm not surprised that everyone here is, passionate about nature and animals, because I see that we all have such a similar heart. And I think definitely that cycling, skiing, it feels like you're really playing the game of life, and really outside and engaging with it and feeling kind of your capacity and going beyond it. And it's such a testament to what spirituality and community can do for you, because I was told I would never be able to do things like this. So that's my passion outside of here. And I'm just standing up and sharing it, because anyone who thinks that it's not possible for them, it is, because I was never an athlete. I never thought I was an athlete. And it wasn't until I started hitting like, personal records that I was like, oh, we're really doing something here. So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I want to point Maisha's comments out. It says Adriana, I'm sorry, I pronounced your name wrong again. Adriana, can we be best friends? She
Yes.
cycles as well and is more of a snowboarder. Wow, Maisha, I did not know that about you. I love
that
it.
sounds perfect. Please
And I'm
come
going to
to
jump in.
Vancouver.
Maisha is a teacher, and earlier she said, I think that Adriana and I need to do a collab.
Yeah.
She said we have so many things in common.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that. And I love when things like that happen here. We've had teachers connect because they were on here together, and that's been like my purpose, my goal. So I love it.
I gotta jump in just because mine's a little different. When I'm not on Inside Timer and not just occupied with my usual career, I design and fold origami boxes.
Oh.
So this is a sort of a passion of mine. They're all original designs, and I got the idea of doing containers, bowls, boxes, and I fold and I teach and I diagram, and it's one of my favorite things to do. I feel like everybody needs a non-technology hobby, and so you'll see my incense here. Light that up. Get paper out, and sometimes I'm teaching live on Zoom, and there's a lot of international groups that I'm a member of, and it's just a really fun activity that doesn't have a lot of prerequisites. Take a regular sheet of paper and make something magical in just a few minutes. So
Can you
That's
do a
mine.
session on that? Because I need a non-technology hobby.
Absolutely.
Cooking.
Easy to do. Yeah, that could be. I didn't think about doing that on Insight Timer, but you really could, because there's something very, I always say it's this, there's a Zen-like thing. This is not a race. There's no first
Yeah.
prize for finishing first. It's take it easy, Japanese kind of go easy. And at the very first, you're not always good at it, but tying your shoes was the same way. Third, fourth, fifth time, you got it down and you can make something beautiful very quickly.
Yeah, I think it would be awesome. I would love it.
I wrote that in the chat as soon as I saw it, Bradley, and everyone is saying, I need an origami live.
Yes, you see?
Oh, good.
Yes.
Yeah. And as a hypnotherapist, I often sometimes will use the kinesthetic aspect of this with people, because a lot of people have limiting beliefs about their capacity to be patient enough, manual dexterity, I can't keep track, all these sort of things. And there is always a modality that you can enter into, and just modeling or watching another person do it, that's the very best way to do it physically in the same space. But the next is, you're just working with the person, and, we give enough time for you to kind of catch up, and it builds something in resilience, I think.
I agree.
I just would love to jump in on that because, Bradley, I hear that all the time about cooking. I can't cook, and people assign these beliefs to themselves, right, Violet?
Yep.
But it's
Number
the
one
same-
right here.
It's the same thing. They tied into creativity, because I often speak to corporations about people saying they can't be creative, and it's just a story we're telling ourselves, because just like you're saying with your origami and everything else, we all have the capacity to do that if we choose to.
Right.
Absolutely.
It's about giving yourself permission to not be perfect. I was raised by an artist, and my mom would, she would put the chalk or the charcoal on the end of a pointer stick and say, now draw. You have no control, and it's just like, allow yourself to make mistakes. And that mindset, I guess, Carol Dweck, undertook in her book about the growth mindset, that when you allow yourself to not be good, then you give yourself room to grow and to expand. And in fact, you do expand consciousness when you get up against the borders of what you think is possible.
Yeah, Melanie, haven't you said that during many of your cooking lives? Give yourself permission not to be perfect. That as soon as he said that, I was like, I've heard Melanie say that.
Yeah, I mean, in fact, as Bradley was saying, so much of our growth comes from that. And cooking is, and just like origami, it's so low stakes and risk. It's why, for me, I taught adults for so many years, but I really wanted to work with younger people, because I felt like I need to catch them before they start telling themselves these stories, because they are hearing them a lot. And one of the things that I think is remarkable is to see a kid say, like, is it okay if I do this? Can I do this? Oh my God, it didn't turn out. And then I'm like, how do you know it didn't turn out? Let's see what happened. And then they're like, oh my God, this is really good. And it wasn't supposed to be this. And then I'm like, yeah. And you know what? When that happens here in cooking, that can also happen when you take a test and you take a risk, because that's where you're really going to be your best self. Because I feel like we as a society are not doing that with kids, and we're sort of boxing them in already, and we're losing that creativity piece with a lot of our young people.
I agree.
I wonder if Kevin has a comment about that, because meditation is one of those things. It's not a performance activity. You can't show up at Starbucks and go, man, I so rocked my meditation this morning. It's in the cessation of effort that you gain the most from the experience.
Yes, absolutely. And thank you, Bradley, for your mention. First of all, I have a little origami frog here. I didn't make this, a friend made it. And he sits up here on my shelf and keeps me company. And I was thinking, one thing I was thinking was, I just wondered if maybe, Bradley, you and Melanie could collaborate somehow, and you could make some kind of little containers with some kind of special baking paper that, Melanie, you could put something in and bake or create. And wouldn't that be fun, like to, at a party?
Yeah, the parchment paper would be perfect for that, because it's designed to take the heat. So yeah, you could do a little a muffin or something.
I was thinking cupcakes immediately. I don't know why I've had cupcakes on my mind.
because they have those paper cupcake holders that, yeah, forms. Anyway, that was just one thing. And as far as taking the heat, yes. I think that meditation is a wonderful way of taking the cooling in many ways and just allowing that cooling to be there. And yes, to have that power of concentration, the power of focus, but also I loved everything that was said about being, basically with my own words, being gentle with yourself, being kind to yourself, and allowing for those opportunities to be there that might not look perfect in one way, but actually have their own signature of perfection. And in fact, that's kind of one thing I've noticed again and again in meditation, is that it's not that the perfection of the moment is going to necessarily align with what my mental idea is, but if somehow I can just give it a chance to just relax and see what the actual perfection is in each moment, that it's actually always there waiting for each one of us. And that's a large part of what my approach is, just to really, just to, as we say, show up to ourselves again and again in that space of meditation, and allow it to be there. I sometimes refer to myself as a meditation concierge, in the sense that it's not that there's any rules or regulations in what I offer, what I talk about, but rather just to simply just basically be in that space that then allows something within that wants to express and be heard just become clearer and clearer. And that actually it's not so much a matter of creating something, but just allowing the distractions or the coverings or overlays to just somehow just gently relax and just dissolve away, as they naturally will do in meditation given the chance. So that's always been and always continues to be my approach. It's just one of embracing everything as it is, to not feel anything is wrong or has to be changed. But if something is there that we maybe wish to change, that can also be affected as well, and that meditation can, in my own experience, certainly unfold some ideas and some energy and some flow in that direction of making changes whenever is needed. So essentially that's what I think is one thing about getting back to the little frog here, just having that patience. He's not going anywhere. He's very happy to be here. So I think as my mascot, it just reminds me once again that the perfection is there within each one of us, and just to really embrace that and find whatever way is comfortable for you to really resonate with that within. And certainly in terms of things away from Insight Timer, I'm very similar to Violet. My life is very, very much integrated with Insight Timer. We're integrated together. And one thing that I really love in life, what gives me tremendous joy, is just meeting new people who are interested in the same things, or the things that I talk about here on Insight Timer. And I love coincidences. I love that kind of synchronicity of things that can happen. Recently, I met somebody on an escalator, and then we connected later, and then it turns out, I found out at the end of a long conversation, that his mother is the best friend of a friend that I know in my community. So it was one of those kind of random things. And the reason we ended up meeting was he had just bought his wife this new jacket, and I said, "Oh, somebody's getting a nice new coat," and he said yes, and explained, and everything just happened from there. So I love the synchronicity of life. I love the synchronicity of the universe, and I'm always grateful to it for showing up and appearing in so many beautiful ways. Sprinkling, someone used the word sprinkling earlier, just how these beautiful moments get sprinkled into our lives, and that there is so much beauty there within each one of us. And it's just so, really, I'd say the greatest gift is to discover that beauty and to unfold it and watch it unfold actually by itself, without necessarily doing anything, and also doing the things that we need to do to support all of this. And that's really why I'm here in Insight Timer, and I'm so grateful for this opportunity again and again. So thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. I know Maisha asked a question that I want to get to, but Evie just dropped one in that I feel it's a little bit lighter and it's not going to take as deep of a turn. And Evie asked, "What's the one thing that we would never guess about you?" Which I think is so fun. And I'll kick it off because maybe you don't want to divulge these things, but I love to tell dirty jokes, and I have a very dirty sort of, what's the word I'm looking at? Mind. I'm a Scorpio, so everything sort of goes to sex.
I was muted. I was saying mine was just going to be that I was an introvert, but I've said that a lot on Insight Timer, so people know that about me now. Mine was not as fun as yours.
Well, mine was to break the ice. I love to do that. I love to break the ice and say something a little bit spicy.
And I start out with stuff like, well, I do tell people, because a lot of people don't know that I'm 100% Puerto Rican, and I spoke Spanish exclusively for 5 years before I learned English. That's the only one I ever have to come up with at work when they ask that question. I'm like, let me explain to them that I spoke Spanish for the first 5 years of my life, and you would never know that now, because now I have to think when I'm saying something in Spanish.
Well, mine is that a lot of people don't know, but I'm a burner. I go to Burning Man. I've gone 3 years in a row,
Oh.
and there's a healing camp that I'm a part of, and we serve a certain number of hours per week. And but I love, and I do that in the 5 or 6 hours of service. But I love EDM, and everybody in the groups, most people are younger than me, but you find the crowd that's your age. But I just love the vibe, and I play it almost every night out on my porch. You got black lights, a fog machine, EDM, and we throw darts and play ping pong to EDM. So.
Bradley, I'm gonna come there. I'm also an EDM fan. Yesterday
Good.
I was on the subway. I was on my commute and I looked up on Spotify spiritual, because I was in the mood, like ancestral spiritual EDM music, and it was such a trip. It was so good on the commute. You're in with your headphones. It elevates.
Yep.
It's beautiful.
It alters consciousness for sure.
Yeah. I have a very loud laugh. Just so I'm holding back. I think that's my thing that people probably wouldn't think, because it's always so proper, blah, blah, right? But the laugh breaks everything. It's like there's a shine of who I really am,
Yeah, I'll share. I said a little bit in the chat, but I think a lot of people don't realize how shy I am. I was an extremely shy child. Like when I was in elementary school, if I had to use the restroom, I had to ask my friend to ask the teacher for me. Like I couldn't possibly ask the teacher, if I could be excused. And then it was well into my 20s where my mom was still calling the doctors and making appointments for me. I couldn't talk on the phone. I was just very extremely shy, a lot of social anxiety. And then I got a job. My first job was answering a switchboard at a vet hospital, a teaching hospital. And so then I found myself having to answer 200-300 calls a day. And so my fear of the telephone went away pretty quickly. But then, yeah, I feel like too, as you get older, that shyness, for me, it's gotten a little, I've come out of my shell a little bit. I think because as you get older, you start to care a little bit less about what other people think. It's easier to. And but it still like sneaks up sometimes. But I think that a lot of people, at least in my lives, and George had mentioned this, he comes to our pet lives, is they might not realize that I get really shy sometimes. And I still try to separate myself from, I'm not a shy person. I just, feel shy sometimes. So.
Yes, I can relate.
I can jump in. Ahsa, I love that because I feel like if we were in school together, I would have been the friend that would have been asking for you and doing things for you. And I would have been like, nobody touch her, nobody say anything to her. I was always kind of like the welcome wagon growing up and always finding the people that, I could kind of see like the water running deep underneath the surface. And I love still finding people like that on Insight Timer all the time. I'm the complete opposite. So being late diagnosed with like on the spectrum was like surprising in some ways, but not surprising in others. And I think Caitlin Partlow said it, to meet one autistic person is to meet one autistic person. So I think a lot of people, for me, are surprised that I'm on the spectrum. But there's so many other things too. I feel like I could say, like, for the fun fact that, you may not expect about me. And I can't decide which one, whether it's that or I'm trying to learn Spanish. So Violet, what you were saying there, amazing. And I always joke about like Duolingo, how like I really learned nothing, but like nothing I can use really, you know, but I'm still putting in the hours. I'm also learning Arabic. I'm studying Islam, which is like something I think a lot of people don't expect, but I really think it's a beautiful religion. And I love learning about different religions, different cultures. I live in Vancouver, BC, so I'm around lots of different people and I've learned so much. If I haven't been able to travel, I do it through the people I meet and their incredible lives and things like that. So that would be mine. And I think the top one would be that I'm surprisingly hilarious once I get going. I think comedy might be my number one kind of natural talent, despite all the things I pursue, you know, with meditation, mindfulness, mental health advocacy seems so serious, but there's many laughs to be had still. So that's mine.
I was wondering when you mentioned that you're learning Islam, do you know that there is a teacher who started a profile here called Islam Channel? She goes on with
No.
another person. I'll hook you up with her. She's been on with us.
Yeah.
Christina Toth is her name, but she
I would love that.
started a second profile with another person and she calls it the Islam Channel. Yeah,
Yeah, I
definitely.
would absolutely love that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I would like to go. So first of
Yes.
all, Adriana, I'm definitely on the spectrum as well. I'm not diagnosed, but it's like, yeah, got it. Somewhere there. That's where I am. And I want to share something that no one knows because I have a lot of fear around it. And it's that I have these gifts that I see energies that have passed over, that I can talk to them. And the fear is that that I can't control it if I open up fully. So that's the fear around it. That's why I don't talk about it that much. And I'm just learning currently to ease my way in so that I feel safe and that I have this idea of being in control, to be honest, even though my teacher said you're always in control, so don't get worked up about that. But yeah, that's something that I'm learning to use my gifts of seeing the energies, feeling, and talking, knowing.
That's amazing. I love that.
Mm.
I'll go next. I'll just
ahead.
change the tone quite radically and go with Melanie's kind of tone, but not the same kind of thing. So I've got three things. They're very brief. One is that not always, not every day, but I love sometimes having popcorn for dinner when I had a big lunch. And yeah, I don't know if because I'm from Brazil, it's such a big thing, popcorn and blah, blah, blah. But even when I'm in the UK and I make popcorn and nobody else wants it, and they go, really? I go, yes. So I make this big bowl of popcorn and I can have it on a Sunday evening or something. So I love that. And actually, I found out my 89-year-old mom, she loves popcorn too. I never realized how much, so probably I got it from her. So I can make a big bowl for myself. The second thing is I'm very much into not much sugar and eating healthy, apart from popcorn, though I kind of justify popcorn is healthy. I'm very tempted by jelly beans. I had to really control myself if I'm going through an airport or something or whatever, you know, a place that I see those really nice, colorful jelly beans. Those are very tempting. And the third thing, I don't know the name in English. I can't remember, but you know that game you play, there's a table and there's two football teams and you know, it's very old fashioned. You turn.
Oh, foosball?
Yeah, is that the name?
I think so.
Love it, and I'm very good at it. To the point that even my kids who are 20, 22, they don't, you know, I don't see that much in the UK anyway, but here in Brazil, they're kind of back in fashion. You see them in different places. And I just get totally transformed. I go really kind of showing off and competitive, and I'm so good. And they're kind of seeing a different side of their mom, so that was fun. So that's three things about me.
I love that. Actually, my husband won't play foosball with me because I'm so competitive about it. I always say I'm not competitive, I'm driven. I'm competing against myself, but you're not going to win. So Maisha asked a question that's so great. What have you learned about yourself teaching on Insight Timer?
I have learned that I'm not an introvert. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, I'm so glad.
I've learned that I can do hard things, sharing things from your heart, like the meditations. It requires a little bit of a vulnerability to upload guided meditations for all the world to see, and especially to go live. And so it's been a good reminder to me that I can do these things that seem really big and hard. And yeah, what was the other thing? Oh, and then also, there's no reason to take life so seriously. That's something one of my words for this year is play. So I'm just reminding myself when I get hung up on a meditation that I want to upload or a course. And then I have to tell myself, I just say, Ahsa, this isn't like my master's thesis. It's Insight Timer. We can try different things, experiment. I don't have to take it so seriously. And so it's just been really beautiful lesson that's, that I've learned in my life and has touched all kinds of different areas of my life.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that you said that because I think for me and you being that personality, that was for me too. I can do hard things and they can be really wonderful if I give it a try, if I push myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which I want to point out, speaking of doing hard things, Melanie, when I first met her last year, and I was fascinated because I'm not a cook, or I was not enjoying cooking. It's not that I wasn't a cook, it's that I wasn't enjoying it. I saw her putting so much joy around what she does that I was like, I want to try that. And then I followed her and found out that she does this thing in her house where she invites 6 strangers to come connect over a meal. And I thought that sounds terrifying to someone as shy as me, but I'm going to do it. That was really hard for me. I tried to talk myself out of it about 12 times after I signed up, but I showed up and it was amazing. And she and I have formed like this amazing friendship as a result. Turns out she lives an hour from me, so that was convenient because obviously if she'd been in Australia, I couldn't have gone as easily. But yeah, it's amazing to find that you can do hard things and that amazing things can come out of that. So I just wanted to throw that in there.
I think mine is really similar because the question was, what have you learned about yourself as you've been teaching on Insight Timer? I think for mine, it's really just blown me away how powerful my voice has been and how much, like, I yap for 3.5 hours every session. I think I'm going to keep it to an hour and a half, but it never happens. How much that I just have had to say, and I built this like feminine rage with all of the things in the world that I realize these systems that don't serve us, and learning how to peel them back for myself and then saying, okay, we can all do it together. I can't believe the messages I've got that have actually brought me to my knees, like in tears, because I felt like I had to be like this, like professor, like in my 60s, and I had to have this long life to share my experiences and to be able to get the responses I've had where people are like, this changed the trajectory of my life, or I'm now diagnosed, or now I understand myself, or I don't hate myself because of you, or I enjoy waking up, or all of these things that I personally came through as well. And it's like every time I doubted myself or was frustrated with my past self, I see how that version of me got me here. And now I'm able to help people who are where I was and even where I am now, getting to relate to people. It's actually surreal. Every single Thursday, it feels like wish fulfillment beyond. So I'd love to be on here more, which is why I love doing stuff like this, because it just makes it more possible for all of us to be successful in the work that is so resonant with us. I think that the work in our alignment, naturally working in alignment is the way for everyone. If we can find a way to stand up and be authentic, then others can too. So I'm just blown away by how powerful I am. And I see that in a reflection of all the other teachers I used to follow. And of course, Jessica Amos is one of my biggest inspirations.
Yes, I had her on here.
She was on here, and that's how I found this. So I always love to shout her out. I don't think I've ever gone through a live without shouting her out. And I started doing them in July because she was one of the first people for me that kind of helped minimize that like endless shame in my head, that persistent belief that like I didn't belong. And even before I fully believed it for myself, I stood up, and it was so easy to say to anyone who comes into my life, like I see each person like poetry, unique, completely dazzling in their own way. And I realized that, this is a reflection of my own beauty in a way too. So I kind of did it backwards. My self-worth came in that way. But even when I don't feel like I'm capable or I'm strong, the testimonials and the rest kind of shows me like, nah, fake news, you're doing great. So that would be mine.
And speaking of Jessica, I'm a huge fan of her friends,
Yeah.
Lou Redman. I love that group. The 5 of them are amazing.
Mhm.
But Lou was one of the first teachers that I felt I got a lot of good. His courses were just amazing. Like he had one that kind of spoke to that imposter syndrome in me. He's had so many courses that I've taken. So I love that you mentioned her because when we had the 5 of them together, that was like my dream team in front of me. So
So good.
awesome.
I have
Yeah.
chills. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I want to join and say that I think the biggest revelation has been for me while on Insight Timer, because I've really started realizing how big of an imposter I carry, and the limiting self-beliefs that I needed to like really dismantle, is I am my own biggest cheerleader. And this is always, and it needs to remain that way. And that's what is, you start with self. You have to start with yourself, and believing and trusting my voice, like taking the space and saying, hey, I actually have something to say, and it matters, because you can do really beautiful work with that. And it's a continuous journey. There is but I'm stepping in it. I'm embodying it slowly, surely. And it's interesting. Yesterday, I had this really bad, the day I would have these stretches of having it in my head and really crippling myself a little bit. And yesterday came back, and it was for one day. And today I'm here. I'm just like, you can see, what's going on. This is what's up. And I feel like, really just trusting your voice, recognizing that this is your real voice. This is your voice, not someone else's, it's you, is such a gift. So, and that really Insight Timer has been a huge learning curve, and and it's instant. So, and it's funny, right? Like having all of that and still showing up on the lives and doing it. It's like there's the greater force, and then there is like it's interesting. It's like these dualities. So yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I would go, and for me, it's patience. Patience for recording is one thing, but then editing the tracks, for me, that's a chore. And to have that patience to do that in a way that I'm okay with it, and then sending it off and then getting rejected. I think for one track, I've been rejected 5 times. So having that patience then to like say, okay, let's have a look again. Let's see what we can do. And that's what I think that's one of my biggest growth here through Insight Timer, to have that patience to just look at it objectively and take it as a learning curve and see where can I improve, can I do differently next time, and definitely not taking it personally, because it has nothing to do with me, just with the technique or technicalities that I'm not very familiar with and that I can learn.
Yeah, totally. I can relate to that.
Blossom Violet has something she wants to say.
Oh, please.
Anna, I'm so glad you mentioned that, because I'm an introvert. So I've been, telling myself, I always mention this in my life, and I should stop saying that. And I always say, oh, music's my language, and not, language as in written or anything like that. So I do procrastinate over uploading lives as well. The uploading tracks, mostly because I needed to, write the description. And that is, to me, it seems like such a huge task that I couldn't manage. So that's something that I need to work on. And I've said a few times that I'm going to upload this track, and the fear and the discomfort just like got over me. So that's something I need to work on. But what I've learned since I became a teacher it's just amazing, because I used to tell myself, I'm too old to learn technology. And that is so not true. You know, the limited mind, the ego tells you what you can't do is absolutely not true. And I remember procrastinating over, you know, once I bought the software and the hardware, and I just paused. There were a couple of times where I just stopped. I didn't want to face the computer for 2 or 3 months each of those times. And but my calling was to come to Insight Timer to bring my music, bring love and peace through my music. And I was, you know, I remember sitting down one day and asking myself questions like, do you want to go on Insight Timer to be a teacher? And the reply, my own reply was yes. Now, how do you think you can do that if you don't face the technology? And it was like, oh yeah, you're right. You know, I had a good laugh talking to myself, and yeah, I mean, I did it. It's such an amazing journey. I've learned so much, and yeah, it's just words can't describe. You know, the community and everything, and all the teachers are also supportive, and I think I've grown more in the last 4 years since life started, and more so since I became a teacher, that I've probably learned ever in my entire life. I've come out of my shell more. I still remember the last time I did that was in my 20s, when I was so shy. And I said to myself, well, I love doing teaching children music, like as in a group's classroom situation. So I said to myself, well, the only way to do that is to go and get a degree in teaching. So I did that, and couldn't get a job teaching music, but I went to teach Chinese language. And when I was teaching Chinese language, I formed in the primary school I was working I formed a Chinese music group. And when I was studying in China back in the late 80s, I had brought back a few percussion instruments like Chinese cymbals and all that. And I formed a little orchestra with a few of the little primary school kids, my students, and we went to local what do you call it, festivals to perform, and that was really fun. So that was like a huge hurdle for me, and so I just enjoy doing lives, and it's just so rewarding. Yeah, changed me for the way that I could not even imagine that I could ever do. So yeah, I just want to take this opportunity to thank you everybody for making this possible, because I also want to pat myself on my back, because I don't normally acknowledge myself. So you know, if I didn't talk to myself and maybe slap myself a little bit too in the process, if I hadn't done that, this would not be possible. So I kept going with the journey, and with encouragement and support from everybody. And yeah, it's been an amazing journey. And my next step would be, because of my twinnie Violet 108, who started the idea about ask your guides and going on Zoom and invite all the teachers. My what's the word? My goal this year is to also do that, and invite musicians to come with me to my lives. And I think playing together simultaneously would be an issue because of latency, and also because I can't jam with anybody, because I haven't learned that. But at least we could take turns to, you know, play music for everyone. So that's my goal for this year. And
I know you will do it, because I see how you are
Yeah.
doing with the technology. I remember in the beginning you had so many questions, and you
Yeah.
have watched every video and read everything, and you've pulled it together. And I'm sometimes like, wow, from the person who didn't think she could handle the technology to the one who's switching screens and throwing up screenshots. I'm like, you go, girl, you're killing it. Maisha had a great question. Did we ask her question yet, Melanie? I can't remember. We did. Oh,
Thank you,
okay.
everyone.
That's what I think people are answering now.
Ew. See how I'm not paying attention? I'm sorry.
That's okay. Well, two questions came in, and I think I'm going to pose them both, and you guys can answer whichever one you would like. Selena, a long time ago, asked, what is your woo-woo gift? Like the most woo-woo gift that you have. And then Michelle also asked, what is your favorite meal?
Meal, eat.
Yes, eat.
It's anything
Well,
seafood for me.
I'll jump on something that Ziska was I mentioned a little while ago, that and also that Blossom was just mentioning, that over the years of doing lives and not so much the pre-recorded, you had to get out of your way and just trust, and a voice began to emerge. And when I teach now, I know generally where I'm going to be going. I have some general pointers and notes, and I've thought about it and meditated, but it's become more or less just like download or channeling. That's become the most authentic voice, and the one that has the most authority, the most clarity, and the most effectiveness over what little Bradley might come up with. That's a good idea based on training and things that I have been brought into. So that constitutes probably the woo-woo side. And I've had hundreds and hundreds of pages, over 1 million words that I've captured through this process. And I don't know what in the world I'm going to do with it, but it's captured. And I'm a huge fan of sushi. I absolutely love it. I got to go to Japan with my daughter a couple years ago. Not that was, but it's authentic. It was a great place to experience it. And I try to enjoy when people say, where do you want to go? And I would say anything ethnic, any ethnic food. Asian's my favorite. Japanese food, the best. So
I had sushi for dinner. I'm a huge sushi fan too. Not from Japan, but
My favorite thing to eat is eggplant stew. So my dad is from Iran. I'm half Iranian, and he makes this eggplant stew, and you fry the eggplant, and it's got like a tomato sauce and split peas in it, and he puts these dried lemons and all these like interesting exotic spices, and it is my favorite meal ever. Anytime he comes to visit, I'm like, make the eggplant stew. And I remember in college too, whenever I'd go home and be like, will you make some eggplant stew so I can take it back with me to my dorm room? It's so delicious.
it sounds delicious. Now I want some. Anybody
Okay,
else want
no
to
one-
tackle?
Yeah, if anyone doesn't want to go, I'll go really quick. I could probably answer both quickly too, just for a little polarity here. For the woo-woo, I feel like there's a lot of things. I always thought you had to like know how to read tarot, but then I just kind of opened a deck one day and was like, let's see what happens. And I was blown away by how clear and accurate everything was. So that's kind of been an ongoing exploration for me. I think though my ability to connect with and just perceive people's experience with barely knowing them, like it is actually a little bit creepy, and it's kind of like, socially not accepted sometimes. I don't even realize how much I can kind of like be a little too open-hearted, a little too vulnerable, a little too authentic in like the third dimensional space, but on Insight Timer, it's always just enough, just perfect. So being able to anticipate what people are feeling, even sometimes before they do, but then not having that ability for myself. And I think it was Adriana Rizzolo. She's a teacher off of here, same, spiritual work. And I have to share this because I love it. She calls herself emotionally constipated. So she won't realize how bad, she stewed up these emotions or these, this grief until it starts to burst and project onto people. And you realize, oh, wait, all these things I teach, I should probably apply to myself. That radical acceptance is kind of why I teach it too, because I need it the most. I really catch myself in some of my most extreme versions, because I don't realize until it's too late that I'm sad or, have the grief or feel challenged or overwhelmed. So it's a beautiful balance being woo-woo, but also being able to have this kind of human experience. And it's kind of always a balancing act. And then just to offset that, I just love Mexican food. I'm gluten-free, so ceviche is always
I
like
love that.
yeah, it's fresh, delicious. I think just any food that anyone offers to make me and it won't kill me, via the celiac disease. I'm always down. And that stew sounds incredible, the eggplant stew. So I might just say that without even having had it, because yes, I'll take some of that. And that's mine.
I love Mexican food too. I love sushi. I love Mexican. And sometimes I think there's a lot of stuff that I don't like, but apparently I like it all.
One of my absolutely favorite things, it's not going to maybe sound terribly exciting, but it's vegetables, like steamed vegetables with tofu and roasted seeds and tahini sauce. I just really love a great tahini sauce, and couscous, millet, anything like that. It's just,
Yum.
yeah, and of course a great salad if it can be there as well. So that's for food. As far as woo-woo is concerned, I'm not too sure about that, but just, I guess, one thing is that I just find meeting people, and I think, Adria, you've touched on it just a minute ago. And by the way, I lived in Vancouver years ago for a couple of years in West Point Grey. Yeah, right near UBC. Yeah, it was a great time. I've worked down in the Sinclair Center in West Hastings. It was a great time. So yeah, the thing I think I find is that when I meet people or meet someone, I just have this sense that of just so much more than what is actually being spoken or talked about, or just that there's that level or that vibration or whatever that I think we all carry. I just find sometimes I feel like really, really sensitive to things, and it's just a matter of kind of sorting it all. Like, what am I feeling here, and what is really happening in this moment? So something like that maybe is in that realm. And as far as something you wouldn't maybe know about me is that I actually I can be really goofy, and I love being really, really goofy and telling really, really silly jokes. And in fact, sometimes I feel I need to have a sign to carry on, like, okay, that was a joke, because it's kind of like if you have to say that it was a joke, it probably wasn't. Well, they're probably not going to get it anyway. So there's that. And that I was I did voiceovers, and that was really fun. And I was also a telephone installer, which was a lot of fun, and a fitness instructor, and yeah, all kinds of different things in my life. But certainly the experience here in Insight Timer is something that is really shines in the collection of my life experiences. And one thing that I would say, and very, very important for me and very valuable, most valuable thing that I feel I've gleaned or experienced from and with and in Insight Timer, is that it's given me a tremendous, overwhelmingly beautiful sense of renewal of the faith in humanity and the joy and the love and the beauty that is just so intrinsically there in everyone here today, and just everyone who participates, and way beyond Insight Timer as well. When I started, and I also find it's so interesting how many introverts are here. It's almost like all the teachers here, or not all, but so many teachers are saying, I'm an introvert, and I definitely have that as well. For anyone who's familiar with the Myers-Briggs system, the aspect concerning introverted and extroverted, I was like 1 point on the side of extrovert, because you can't be zero, you have to be one on one side or the other. So I definitely have a very, very strong introverted aspect or component to my how I'm made up or whatever. But I also have this, like Bradley was mentioning, when you can kind of let yourself get yourself out of the way, like the things that happen in the space of meditation. That's where I feel truly at home, and just to see the beauty of all the other teachers and the participants here has given me a tremendous sense, as I said, of renewed hope and love and appreciation for the beauty of humanity. And that when I started out, I was very, very nervous about all the negativity, and I just was so concerned about trolls and that kind of thing. And to just really face that fear and just go through that and see that actually, in fact, that was just, I mean, there is something we all know, as we're very aware, that there can be negativity, but that there's so much love and positivity, and that really is if you tune into that, more is more, as I often say. So tuning into that, it's like a tsunami of goodness, a tsunami of love and positivity can certainly be there, and I find is there again and again on Insight Timer. And so I'm really, really grateful for all of this, and it's just been so enriching and continues to be that. So thank you.
I'll go. I don't have a favorite food. Whatever I'm eating in the moment is my favorite. That applies to anything. And I think that my most woo-woo thing is very similar to Adriana's, where I'm very good at perceiving people. But I also, and I don't ever talk about it, but I'm completely claircognizant. I just know stuff and I cannot explain why, and I'm always right. And if you've been on my Insight Timer journey, it's really, and you know I had cancer, I feel that that tied so heavily to it when I talk about following my intuition with what was going on, because I just knew. And I have that, fortunately, with my life and with other people's as well.
I know we've been here like an hour and 16 minutes, and I don't want to keep the teachers too long. So maybe we should start wrapping up and just letting the teachers tell us what they've got coming up, what courses, tracks, anything they want to share. So do you want to call them out, Melanie? I'll let you do that.
Sure. Hold on. I'm going to make my screen large so I can see everybody. Bradley, do you want to go first?
I still live. Let's see, get my audio up there. Thank you. I'm very excited. I'm in the middle. We just started a new series this month. I typically do a series for the month, and this month it's called The Heart of Transformation, Loving Yourself, Loving Others. That's the theme, since it's the month of love. And this very first week, I taught about the heart of this is just that notion of self-love, and looking at that each week. There will be a different topic related to it. They're all posted up there right now, but they relate to, we certainly want to love others. And it's so much easier to love others when you fully love and accept yourself as you are. And I'll be teaching and sharing and putting some language around that, as well as guided meditations, and we'll wrap at the end of the month. So have a look at that and hope you can attend.
Thank you so much. And I appreciate you being here. Ziska?
So I haven't even put up my next live yet, but it's going to be on Thursday. And I invite all of you that have been here to come and join me. I really wanted to, I do the lives once or twice a week. It really depends. It's not always the exact same day, but it's in the morning. That's when I have the space and the energy for me. That's when, it flows. So the next one is definitely going to be Thursday, 9:30 Eastern. I also think we are in a world phase where we need to do the work together as a collective. And it does begin with self, but we're so powerful when we're together, and we need, and it's like that hope, that trust that Kevin was mentioning. Like this is like my lifeline, because almost my love, humans are, we have work to do. We have work to do as a collective and showing up together. So it's really important. So I want to work on a series where it's really focusing on us as a collective, and that we can get through everything. We will get through it the way we don't have a choice, but it's important that we lean on each other, and that we are that we know that love is what is the ultimate force. So yeah, so stay tuned, follow me, and then you'll know exactly when my lives are coming up. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Ahsa?
Well, thank you again, everyone. This has been so much fun. Yeah, for anyone that tuned in a little later, I'm Ahsa, and I have a variety of meditations on my page, but here lately, we've been really into pet meditation. So if anyone has a pet, then you can join us. I usually go live 2 to 3 times a week with my cat, and we share pet meditation. We do a loving kindness that you can do with your pets, sending love to your pets and the stray animals, the shelter animals, all of the animals and people in the world. And so, yeah, we do that a couple times a week. It's so much fun. And I have a course on pet meditation. And I'm excited to start teaching yoga again here on Insight Timer in probably a few months. I taught for many years, but it's been 15 years since I did my first teacher training. So I'm back in school again, getting a refresher. And then once I finish this, then I'll get back into teaching yoga. But anyone with a pet, I would love to see you in our pet meditation lives or our groups.
Thank you. Catia?
Okay, so thank you for having me here. Thank you everyone for watching and participating in the live, but for all the teachers here sharing space. I feel really honored and nourished. And I'm actually gonna have my first live this year next week. You know, I was really busy since I joined in July, or sorry, can't remember, somewhere over the summer last year. And I was doing 2 to 3 lives a week. And they were amazing. And because of life transition and moving from the UK to Brazil and family things, and end of the year and everything, December was the end of the lives, and then I gave myself this break and this breathing moment. I needed to focus on family things, and it feels really good because in some ways, Violet's message, like reminder of the meeting here today, was like, oh yes, come on, back to Insight Timer. So I'm really excited. And before we started, I scheduled one for next week, which is one of the one I've done it maybe a couple of times last year. It's the base of my work, which is really kind of calm down your mind and look at the chaos that goes on with all the thoughts, that are kind of taking control of your life. And this time I'm calling it, Are Your Thoughts Telling You the Truth? Because it's a very easy and basic thing I kind of teach and I coach people on a daily basis, but what I bring to the life of making this very basic but powerful differentiation between what you're thinking and what's actually happening. And that makes the whole difference. So come along, and there is an audio about that too. And the top kind of, usually it's always a surprise, but the ones that people join a lot and interact a lot. So that's me, I guess. And there will be more. Now I'm more excited to come back to the lives. I love doing lives.
Awesome. I'm glad that you said that my message to you out of the blue prompted you. I've had teachers tell me that before, and I was thinking when everyone was saying, what's their woo-woo gift? I'm like, I don't think I have one, but maybe I'm a channeler and I don't know it, because I have people tell me all the time, you messaging me when you did was perfect, or, it brought them back to doing lives. I had a friend who was gone and came back for a while. So I'm like, hey, maybe that's my woo-woo gift, and I just don't know it. I don't know. I think it's the shower that's talking to me, but it may not be.
I think it is Violet. I think when people have that in the shower, it's because their mind is calm and the water is helping like clear away things. And it's just like when there's not a lot of extra stimulus going on and your brain is allowed to think, be
Which
creative.
I think is why I love water. That's the only time I'm not around electronics.
Well, I mentioned something because it happens to me as well, Violet. When I'm in the shower, I get the best insights. And then my husband says, wow, why do you take so long in the shower? So I don't know if it's a woman's thing. I said, but that's not just a shower. It's the moment of connecting.
Yes.
I put some waterproof. I put some watercolor or in the shower. Some they're like basically colored soap, but then you can draw and write and get your ideas before you get out of the shower.
Wow, that's a great idea.
Yeah, it's a little gift thing that I would do when I do workshops with people. That's one of the giveaways that I do is is teach about that, and then no live demonstrations here, but then you've got that, and of course you can just scrub it off later. But when the inspiration's there, you're ready to capture it.
That's awesome.
I feel like Bradley and I are like brother, sister. We have so much in common. It's insane.
Yeah, thank you. I gathered that as well.
I
Anna,
love it. So many connections tonight. I love it.
I know. Anna, would you like to share?
Yeah, so my next live is next Wednesday, 3 p.m. Beijing time. And we're talking about breaking the cycle of unhealthy arguments. And how I like to structure my lives is that I like to give examples on how does it look like, because that's often my question when I listen to teachers. It's how does it look like? How can I identify myself with the situation? And because I love the details to say, this is how it could look like, yeah, and then you can relate to it in some way. So I usually give a couple of examples as on how it could look like in your relationship, and then what could happen if you stay on the way you're doing it now, and what can you change and how can you change again, this practical implementation of these are the easy and simple steps you could implement. Give yourself time, of course, be patient, and make sure that you don't take it personally if your partner doesn't react immediately and everything is flowing from the get-go. But to give practical tips, that's very important to me, to give the people who listen to the live or later to have something they can take away and can implement. And it's easy. That's the important thing. Easy to understand and easy to implement, because otherwise they just get lost and probably blame and shame themselves for not getting the results they want. And I'm also working on, I don't know, it's probably going to be a track about reconnecting with your partner after. For me personally, it was after my 5th miscarriage when my partner and I were really disconnected, and how we came back. And I want to share what I did, what we did to reconnect, and maybe that helps other couples to reconnect again after challenging times.
Wow, those all sound beautiful. And if it's 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm still coming.
I see that.
Adriana.
All right. I was just so in my feels there with Anna's share. I was like, oh, all the power to you. I love that. I want to try to come to one of those too. For me, it's always the same, 11 a.m. PST, the Radical Acceptance Lives. It's a community space more than anything. And I cannot describe, it's one of those things you just have to come to, because the community is incredible. It's not even so much me getting into flow state and sharing all these great things. And we have some laughs, yes, but it's the community. And so many people here are, here cheering me on from that community. So that's amazing. I have so much to upload. Insight Timer, everyone that was sharing about like the challenges with like getting tracks sent back. Oh my goodness. At this point, I'm like, I'm sorry. Like when I send them in, I'm like, please, like learning how to be my own audio engineer and all of these things, no one prepares you for it. So the community lives are great because we also get to laugh and check in with that. But I have so many tracks coming. I have an entire course to upload. Of course, I have things off the app. You guys know how to find all of that. I won't bring it up here, but on the app, I'm so excited to get everything that I can put onto here as well. So think emotional reparenting, of course, all about that, radical acceptance, which of course we talk about, but not just, again, look, the love and light aspect of it, the radically accepting yourself when you deserve it the most, which is when we kind of feel the most foreign to ourselves or the most ugly to ourselves, is when we really need it the most. And I've always said this in my lives that, I look back at my life and the challenges, the amount of suffering was directly correlated to the amount of radical self-acceptance I was practicing. And it's not always a choice. If it was, like a light switch we could just flick on, we'd all be radically accepting of ourselves already. So it's great to come together every week and remind each other what it can actually look like, and to be there for each other when we don't feel like we can do it for ourselves. It's such a beautiful, uplifting space. And I can't say thank you to the, Insight Timer community enough. And I'm always so excited to do that. So much so that I think I'm going to start doing a bonus live on Tuesday mornings. And if that does really well, we might just change that to our regular slot, but we'll see. So follow my teacher profile essentially, because that's where you're going to get in the know with everything. There's always going to be a weekly live, if not two. There's a whole course coming, if not two, and a lot of meditation tracks. And I have some stuff on my profile as well already that's like very vulnerable, like short slam poems that I don't think I ever would have uploaded if I wasn't a bit delusional. When I first started teaching on here, I was just so excited to be accepted. I was like, let's go. I couldn't believe how well everything was received, and it continues to be. And I'm so excited to see where we go. And I'm so thankful to be here with you guys. So this is the last thing I say on here. Each and every teacher on here, I admire you guys so much. All the love to you. My heart is so full, and the community, everyone that leads this, Violet and Melanie, I just am blown away by what you've done. I think it's the perfect mix of your skills. So
Thank you so much. I love hearing that. Love it.
Yes, thank you. Kevin.
Thanks, Melanie. Yes, so I have a guided meditation that I've been working on, and it turned out to be quite a bit longer than I had anticipated. But anyhow, it's in the works, and looking forward to getting that put up, adding that to my collection here on Insight Timer. And beyond that, it's really just the continuation of everything that I do on a regular basis, which is hosting live meditation events and seeing what comes up in the moment. And I'm always really thrilled when someone has some experience that they want to share about meditation, or some question, or something that really sparks them. And that I think the real one of the great values of meditation is being able to apply it in a very practical sense, where the rubber hits the road, so to speak, and just being able to have that ability ready in every moment to just navigate our individual boats in this collective channel or water of the ocean or the river, whatever it is that we're flowing through in each moment. And the shower thoughts are are great. I had one of my favorite bosses used to say to me, and my shower thought today was, for example. So I really love that.
Love that.
Being in that, literally in that flow and experiencing that. And of course, water is related also to emotions and so many different wonderful things. So 3 cheers to shower thoughts. 3 cheers to everyone.
I'm gonna steal that line. I'm gonna start saying my shower thought today was.
So thank you, Violet. Thank you, Melanie. Thank you, everyone, for this really, really wonderful time here today. Really grateful to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Love having you. Blossom.
I have a live coming up in under 2 hours, 1.5 hours from now, just under 1.5 hours. And also I have a new track. It's piano with Australian bird calls as a background. So yeah, I intend to do more nature sound with piano. I may not be able to upload as many because I had to ask one of the Insight Timer musician teachers, who is a sound mixer, to do his magic on the balance of the bird calls and or nature sound with the piano, which I can't do. So I'm more likely to play that live during my live session rather than uploading more tracks, because yeah.
Well, if you play loud, I will record you like I've been doing.
Yeah, I'll try to do that. I'll try to do that. So
throw in
yeah,
some
thank
water
you,
there, because
Melanie.
I love water and piano, rain and piano. Do those. You can open the window when it's raining.
Well, my PowerPoint is directly under the window, so.
Oh.
So
Scratch
thank
that.
you very much, Melanie and Violet, for inviting me, and such an amazing experience to be here with the whole community. So thank you, everyone, and I hope to see you in just under 1.5 hours time.
We'll be there.
Yeah, thank you. See you. Thanks, Twinnie.
Love you.
We will definitely be there, Blossom Violet, all of us.
Thank you. Thank you. I have to go because I need to eat lunch and get myself ready. So
yes,
bye,
go.
everyone. Yeah.
See you soon. Go ahead.
Bye.
Bye. And really quickly, I have a live every Sunday morning at 9:30 a.m. Eastern time where I do mindful cooking, and it's really about connecting with yourself. And a lot of the feedback that I get from people is, wow, I didn't know I was going to learn all these beautiful life lessons in a cooking live. And then on February 14th, I have a live at noon Eastern time called Embracing Love, and it is a sound bath because I am all about spreading love and connection with ourselves, with each other. So I hope that you guys can join. And then lastly, I have a retreat, and it's almost sold out with all Insight Timer people. So I have a few spots left. It's March 28th through the 30th in Charlottesville, Virginia, and super excited about it. So it's on my profile page, but you could definitely reach out to me if you'd like to learn more. And thank you.
And you're going to have a live about your retreat on February
Yes.
18th, right? Is it February 18th we decided on?
Yes.
I scheduled it. I should know, right?
Violet had to schedule it because I haven't got my OBS stuff together yet. So my friend
Yeah.
Allison, who's hosting the retreat with me and who lives in Charlottesville, will be on that live.
And it's just going to be the two of them. I'm just going to be lurking in the background running the evil OBS.
Thank you, Violet.
You're very welcome. I'm thrilled to do it. You know, like I said, that's my gift, my tech skills, and apparently the channeling that comes through the shower that now I understand what that's about. So thank you, everybody. This was amazing. You know, the 6 teachers who hadn't been on with us before, what a joy getting to know you. And of course, Kevin and my twin Violet over there, always love sharing this space with you. And, you know, Melanie and I, like, we talk every day. So I won't forget to mention you this time, Melanie. So again, thank you all, you know, the teachers who gave us all your time. Thanks everyone in the community for your amazing questions. Join the Ask Your Guides group on Insight Timer, because I know some of you had questions we didn't have time to get to, and you're always welcome to pop them in there. Teachers are there, community's there. You know, we have a great group and we'll answer whatever you ask. Well, almost anything. So unless anybody else has anything they want to add before I end the live, speak now, forever hold your peace, your last chance. With that, I'm going to say goodbye. As I said before, the replay will be available in my teacher's profile link. Links to all these teachers will be in there. And I get all of that up in about an hour because, again, tech junkie here. I just can't sit on anything. If there's a video that has to be edited, I need to do it now. All right. So thanks, everybody. Look forward to seeing you all again soon, and we are going to end
Bye-bye.
our live.
Bye,
Take care.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you so much.